Hi, my name is Valeria Jara, and I'm a software engineer working at a tech startup here in New York City. I create technical solutions for technical problems. Let's say that there's a company that has a lot of spreadsheets that it needs to fill out. It would take so much time to do all of that manually. So I create solutions through the power of coding that allow that to be made in the fraction of a second. The company that I currently work for is a tech startup based here in New York City, and we serve mostly financial clients by helping them automate their services. When I was still living in Peru, I was a very introverted child. I was very into the arts at the time, very much into digital art, and I spent countless of hours in my laptop, locked up in my room, basically. And at some point, I found that with art, it doesn't have to be static. At the time, Flash games were very popular. So I decided to create my own. And there's so many free online resources that a 13-year-old can pick up on pretty easily. So I started making just dress-up games, like small RPG games, just cool little things that really allowed me to express myself creatively, but also allowed me to learn some pretty solid skills very early in life. One of my teachers there just so happened to oversee the project that I was working on, which was like a really simple RPG. And yet he was very impressed by it, that I had no education on this. It was something that I figured out how to do entirely on my own at 13 years old. And he pulled me aside, gave me a really good grade, but then really encouraged me to look more into coding and pursue this kind of opportunity. He also mentioned that perhaps in Peru at the time, the industry wasn't big enough. He suggested that perhaps I expand my horizons and maybe come to not necessarily Silicon Valley, but also other areas in the US where tech is booming as well. I was only 13, so the only thing that I could do was ask my parents, is there any way for me to go to the US at some point? I was very, very persistent. I wanted a brand new, fresh start. And that was the perfect opportunity to do so for the sake of my future. My mom finally decided to talk to my family here and ask them if they could host me, and they agreed. So she helped me with the whole visa process. It's crazy that was really probably exactly 10 years ago as we speak. I landed in the US and I attended a private school, but it was not a typical private school, I would say. It kind of had a bit of a hippie vibe. The principal would walk around barefoot, and I thought that was really cool, but at the same time, I felt like the values could be a little bit extreme there. I felt like a lot of the teachings were going against some of my core values. I felt like a lot of the emphasis was on marriage and what a woman should be like. If anything, it really made me want to pursue my own independence, my own journey, my own path even more. Majoring in computer science was rough, not gonna lie. Being able to get A's in my exams or do really well in a project, I felt like it was definitely really, really difficult, but it was empowering when I was able to graduate with a 3.5 GPA and be in the honors program. My previous company, I felt like when I first joined, the environment was completely different. The thing that led me to decide that I needed to get another opportunity was that I was in a meeting and the person that I was talking to, I guess he wasn't satisfied with what I was working on, or he didn't think that I had done something quick enough, and he was saying something like, "Why do I always have to peel the banana for you?" Which I thought was very inappropriate and rude, and I think that was basically the last straw for me, that I don't deserve to be treated like this, and I'm not gonna be in an environment where little things keep piling up in that manner. I thought for the sake of my mental health, for the sake of my career, that I needed to look for an environment where I was a culture fit for sure. I was polishing up my resume and I updated my LinkedIn profile and I set myself open for business. And perhaps it was also the market in late 2021 that was really good for software engineers that ended up with me getting probably 200 messages from different companies. I was really excited when I was interviewing with my current company because I felt safe there. I felt like the people were warm, the people were genuine, and it was not an environment of competition, and it was not an environment where people were going to accept that kind of behavior. So I actually work remotely. We do have an office in New York City. I usually go maybe like once a week. It's not hybrid, so there's no pressure there. But I sometimes do like going to the office just for a different vibe, just so that I can see my coworkers. A lot of my team is actually based in the UK, so by noon, I'm pretty much done with meetings. And then I can spend the rest of the day coding, writing tests, doing documentation, and things of the sort. There's not a lot of in-person collaboration unless that they come in or I fly into the UK. But I really, really enjoy working with a team. They're very, very supportive. They're very friendly. And one of my teammates is essentially a mentor for me because she knows what it's like to have negative experiences as a woman in the tech industry. And then she gives me all the advice and tips, and she really pushes me forward and tells me when I'm doing something wrong, when I'm doing something right. And she just wants the best for me. And that's everything that I could have ever asked for a coworker. What I really like about my job is solving problems. I really like the feeling of solving a problem after being stuck on it for the longest time. I feel so powerful. It feels internally like it's a major discovery when you're there, like thinking through like all the different solutions, and then finally you see all of these different parts that are connected actually working together. That is such a satisfying feeling, especially if you do it not by yourself, but with a team of people. It's kind of like a video game and then you beat the final boss. I love art. Since I was 13 years old, that's really what, weirdly enough, led me into coding, is my love for art, digital art, painting, drawing. I also really like going out to karaoke with my friends. I love going to like films. I think I really dig into pretty much a wide array of interests, which I guess is not very typical of people in tech, but I think if anything, the flexibility of working remotely, it really allows me to live other parts of my life to the fullest potential. Working in tech has allowed me to move to my dream city, have an apartment that is fully customized to like what I want it to be, to have enough time to be able to go out with my friends, have a pretty good amount of work-life balance. So I feel like everything is just coming into place just as I envisioned it when I was 13 years old because of tech. And it made the whole process of moving to the US and then getting a degree here like so worth it. I see myself in the future perhaps having my very own startup. I still have yet to decide what it would be, what interest it would serve, but I think it's very important to have tech companies that are led by diverse individuals. My advice for women trying to get into tech is to always think about the end goal, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't believe in you, and also a lot of more barriers than other people in tech. And of course, you do have to have more of a confident attitude. You don't have to know everything right away. You're gonna keep learning that, but always keep that confident attitude, because it is your biggest armor against like people who might not want you there or might not believe that you deserve to be there.